Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Liu. I will be responsible for the AP Physics 1, AP Calculus A, B, B, C, and AP Chemistry for the next several weeks with our students for this crash courses event. Okay. Uh, um, Maybe some of you just ask, are you handling for three different courses? Are you qualified? Yeah, that would be the big questions, I believe. Uh, Tell you the truth that I graduated from university in China. I'm not graduating. I'm not studying here. I wasn't studying here. I graduated from China. Just 30 years ago. You know how competitive the students were at that moment. We just try to go to the college, right? So we have good training on all the associate subjects, and we're qualified with the bachelor's degrees and even including the master degrees. Because I graduated from Shanghai Jiaotong University to get a bachelor degree there, and graduated from the Peking University, get a master degree there. Actually, I've been teaching these three subjects for years, especially for the physics calculus for almost 5 years and the chemistry over 3 years. So most of my students for AP courses just get the satisfied scores, and over 80% of them get five score, five. You may say, "Oh, in this way, five is easy thing." I still don't think so. Even though some of the students get it, but it doesn't mean that it's really easy. Let me show you some information about from my understanding of the AP exams. As we know that, I believe we are far above the average in your high school. That's why you can take these subjects. I know they are really challenging, and you cannot just get it to be easier to go if you are not qualified with your basic fundamental skills that you learn in the class, right? So I believe you are far above the average, okay? However, AP is a standard test, which means that the major part of the evaluation to a college level skill is their request. They should know your ability. They should know your experience. They should know you, even including your interests, right? AP shows some such kind of aspects to the college, and also maybe it gets you to your target, maybe your your career in the future. So AP is just setting up in this way, okay? And also we know actually because we just have the different level on understanding of it, just like scoring from the college board on AP courses. For example, we have 5 to 1, right? From 1 to 5 to determine the different levels. So you have to have your target. For example, if you're trying to get 5, so you need to prepare in that way. If you just think, okay, 3 is okay, I just get passed, and then you need to just focus on what you need to focus, right? And but the thing is that when we just get started, or we just now in the middle way, right? How do you know that your level is at? Meaning that when you say, "Oh, I'm trying to get 5," but what's meaning of 5? Have you tried anything before? Do you know your level? If you just get some questions, do you know how to score them? How do you evaluate your score to be like the how they say the level at that? Okay, so that would be the big challenge for us. It's very difficult to determine. So we have to understand if we try to get 5, so what we need to know before the real test. Okay, and yes, of course, these courses are really challenged. Not only for the courses I listed here, every AP tests are really challenging because they are related to the college level knowledge. Okay, and for physics 1, what they will test us. So when you learn it, maybe the teacher shows you the questions, the knowledge, the concept in different ways. But if you just look at the AP test itself, you may just have the clear concept and to understand the background of those concepts, the determination of them, okay? And the logics to be related to the phenomena. Because maybe the question doesn't always related to the equations that it provided to ask you to analyze, to explain. Maybe they just give you the phenomenon and ask you to analyze it and just determine the certain logics, the certain equations, okay? Of course, not only AP Physics 1, but like the calculus and the chemistry, the strong skill on the mathematical operations still needed. This is the biggest thing that they're testing, okay? And the AP Physics 1 still just determine the scoring on the summary and the conclusion ability that you have. Because when they just ask you any questions, you need to get the result and then explain, describe why. Getting results is not related to the scoring itself. You must explain, then you get the full score. If you only just answer the question with the result, no any conclusion, you get nothing. That's their policy. So we should understand that, okay? And there must be something related to the experiment. Maybe you don't have any experience, especially for the last year because of the COVID-19, right? So you don't have the hand-in-hand with the experience like that, but we have to face this kind of questions, okay? Of course, every single question just like writing the essay, right? You need to start from your opinion maybe, and also just get a conclusion to reason up with any evidence, right? So this is another challenge. If you look at the history of the scoring distribution, you see how hard to get a 5, especially for 5 years since they changed the version of the test since 2015. You see now it's just getting better in 2020, just because of the difficulty level of the question itself, right? But still it's difficult because with all the responses from my students, there's no any mistakes happen in the questions if you are trying to get score of 5. And before that, just like a 4 or 5%. You are competing the greatest students in the pool. So you know how hard it is, okay? And of course, just like calculus, the similar thing, because it still belongs to the science subjects, right? So clear concept and understanding of all knowledge that you in the classes, okay? The logic thinking and the determination of the certain concepts as well. Strong mathematical operation skills. Also, some questions are related to the special applications. For example, maybe they ask you the speed rate, maybe the change rate for the certain leakage tank, something by providing the certain functions, right? And also maybe most of the questions just only related to the operations that you learned maybe before the pre-calculus. It doesn't always just focus on the same to be related to real knowledge of the AP calculus. I will show you some examples, okay? And you see the scoring distribution. This is for AB in the last around 10 years, right? You see it's just like a high percentage here. And this is amazing, significantly improved. This is for BC. Yeah, you see, maybe I was wrong to choose BC, to choose AB. Don't worry, AB is a little bit hard just because most of the students don't study very hard. Okay, that's true. That's true. BC calculus BC is related to the strong student, strong skilled students. Of course, they are really competitive. But if you are confident with your strong ability on your mathematics operation, you may be there. Okay. And if we just look at the chemistry, we know the chemistry is very special because it's just intangible, right? It's in the macro world. You cannot see it. You have to imagine. You have to treat something as a big thing to be interpreted. Okay, so from here, maybe you have to try to remember all kinds of concepts, the logics, right? And you have to follow with the just like copying, pasting the chemical reactions. But AP chemistry test doesn't always go this way. Maybe they're still trying to get some idea from you with your skill, including the mathematical operation skill. Okay. And also, just because AP chemistry is related to the just like the virtual world, so you have to keep in mind with some special cases. For example, just like how to make the bonding for the certain molecules, right? And you should have the idea on the experimental background, of course. Okay, and then still there's a low rate to show on the scoring with 5 for the last 10 years here. In average, just like 10% of students can get 5. Still, it is really competitive. And I know for the some majors requirement in the college. So chemistry is really popular. It's a really popular subject. So I believe a big portion of the students just taking this course. So you need to be careful. Only 10%. So what's your target? Okay. Because we don't have too much time here, I just show you some very simple questions to give you the rough idea on the questions in the real test. We start from chemistry, okay? If you just look at this question, it's a multiple choice questions, okay? So which of the following substances have an asymmetrical molecular structure? If you look at this, think about the logic, what it relate to, and the concept, the way, right? I believe you can make most of them, but the question is here. So how do you address the right way to go? Maybe you may say, asymmetrical means the polarity, right? Then when you just make livid dot structure, you may go with it one by one. So you focus on something to be different, just like C, the choice C. Why? Because here shows pretty much like the insufficient information of the Lewis dot structure. Why? Because if you just give me a second, do the Lewis dot structure just like this, right? You may say, hey, it's sufficient. It's not good to the octet rule, right? Because there are only six electrons outside of the orbital of boron, right? So maybe you're saying, that's not good. So maybe this one's just under this question. So maybe you choose C, but please understand this is a special case because this is enough to show as an octet structure. This is a special case. So you have to remember such kind of special case. And this is not related to the question. Which one? A. You may say how to draw A. Yes, just go with the rules of the livid dot structure. You have F. You have F, fluorine to be outside of it to make the bonding, right? And here. But you see here, sorry, there are 10 electrons already outside the most outermost orbital. Is it following the structure, the Lewis structure? It's not 8 anymore, but it is under the structure. So it is another special case. So if you don't know the special case, then you just miss the chance to get the right answer. You know what I mean? So chemistry is just like this special. You have to follow the rule and you have to remember the special cases. Okay. And for another question, just like this. Consider the reaction between this and this to make the reaction formula like this. The question is asking for balanced reaction equation. So you think that'd be a big trouble? Yes, that will be always happening in the free response questions. And you see, is the question like this difficult? In most of the time, yes. You can say, how? I know if I just work it out, maybe I need 10 minutes. But the thing is that if you just always follow this instruction on determine this, something that doesn't like that. But the biggest thing is that your strong mathematical skill. If you are confident to do this with your strong skill on mathematics, this question is really easy. Just if you follow that, we know it's just in the acidic, it's an acid solid, right? The solution, right? So we may just make the half reactions for both, right? To write down this to go to Mn, right? If you just determine this. Of course, O4 is here, then you have balance. You have to balance with the water, right? Because O is 4, then you have to put 4 in front of the molecules. With the increasing of the hydrogen, then you just put 8 hydrogen here, right? Hydrogen ions, cations, right? Then we just keep going with the conservation of mass and the conservation of charge. Then you have to put 5 extra electrons here to see the balance on the charges. Then we just finished the half on the reduced, and then go to the oxidation reaction, half reaction, to go with this. Maybe I'm fast, but don't worry. When we just try to understand it, there will be the rule in the instruction, okay? Because we don't have enough time, then we just show you the way. So you write down this and then balance with what? The charges, right? Then we have at least to go with this to make the balance from the right side. And then the charge, the mass, both are conserved, right? Now we need to balance what? The total charges, right? We have to times 5 for the whole equation to have times to the first equation, just like the elimination in the system of equations, by solving the system of equations, right? And then finally we get the result, like just like what we may write down here is like 10 electrons here plus 16 this plus 2 like this. We just have the left side of the equations to sum up, and then have the right side of everything to be summed up together, okay? To get this. Just by going with just like solving the system equations, okay? And then the last thing is just remove everything up here on both sides. The same thing, right? Just like the charges, 10E, 10Es. Yeah, then the reaction just balanced. You see, in most of the ways that it's related to the chemical reaction, but it's only related to the mathematics method, right? So we need to have the different focus, not only focus on the thing that we learn as a conceptual knowledge, but please, still, you need to take care of your mathematical operation, okay? So this is the way to show you how to just prepare on the chemistry. Of course, please don't forget the thing that you need for the concepts, the logics in the chemistry, okay? And then we just try something like calculus. Still, if you look at this, you say, oh yeah, it is related to the calculus, but how do you operate it? If I give you only 1 minute to answer it, can you make it happen? Can you make it? Can you get the right answer? Okay. Then you just drag everything that you learned in the class. There's nothing to be showing us this way, but we cannot give it up, right? We cannot give up, even though we don't know how to start with the exact knowledge that we learned. But we may just borrow some other ideas from what we learned before, like the logarithm function. For example, we determine this as a function to be determined with the infinite with the power of 0. There's no way to show, but there's a way to go with by converting this into this way. Okay, we're just borrowing the logarithm function, and then we just have the exponent to be moved up, right? And go with this way. Here with this x, the reciprocal of x times ln x, right? So the question will go to this. This one, let me just go with the equation to like this. Then it is only related to the limit of the exponent, right? Right? And then we may switch this to be like this, to have x to be this, because now when we apply with the L'Hopital rule, right? By derive both the numerator and the denominator, make the derivatives, then you get the part of this to be x, I don't copy everything, then it's like this, with 1. Okay, then 1 over x to be 0 as its limit, then the result is e to the power of 0. So you see, it's not only related to the calculus concept, right? Yes, we go that process, but we just use our skill as we learned before. You know what I mean? So that would be our focus. So still, you need to evaluate your mathematical operation skill, okay? And also, if we just go to next question, you may feel a little bit uncomfortable. Why? Because we're always focused on function, function, function. If it's just very clear with the process on determining area from the integral, we know we just draw the curve, right? Like this. Everyone knows it is not related to the exact function like this. But integral allows us to change our mind to another, to the, how to say, the alternative way, to determine the function in the reverse way, the inverse way. For example, we may write down this to be like this. We may write down this to be like this. So this kind of conversions help you to get the different view from this function in another direction. Okay, we always look at the function from this direction, but now can we just look at the function from this direction? Then the regular way to determine the integral is just like this. How about to determine the integral value to be like this from dy? Okay, this small change will give you a big improvement on answering your question. So still, you think it's a calculus, but how about your operation skill? Okay. Of course, for the calculus doesn't only relate to this very simple questions. They are really simple. You may say how much I need to get the 5 score. In average, if you're just taking the BC score, the subject, in order to get 5, in average, you need to you need to get at least 65% of your answer to be accurate. Then you will be there. I mean, this is based on the historical database. Okay. Okay. And then we're trying to go with the physics. For physics, you may say, yeah, I know it's hard. Maybe it doesn't like that difficult. Like what you said. I know everything. I know all the logics. So when I get answer, I may just get answer from my calculator, from my equations. I'm just getting the result from them. I'm good at the mathematics. Sorry, that's only one part. Another thing is that, can you answer this with very, very accurate logic? Okay, so an object with mass of m is an on scale, which is located on the floor of this elevator. Okay, let me just draw it. For example, like this. A scale is on here, scale, and there's a block m, okay? Okay, the elevator is moving upwards with a positive acceleration here, okay? Evaluate the reading of the scale comparing the weight of the object, which is greater, less, or equal, and provide a reasoning. Okay, you may say, I know it is greater, but how? I believe if this is only answer this question, you may get the right result. But the thing is that the question is always asking you to provide your reasoning. You need to write an essay to show the way to get this. So what do you need to do? So you cannot only say that, okay, I get it from whatever, just compare with the magnitude value of it. You must show the process that to apply with the certain logic that you learned in the class. For example, the Newton's second law and the Newton's third law. So because the time limit, I cannot just write down its exactly everything. I will put it, if you need it, I will just put it as an answering question, the answer, and give you the scoring method for this question after the open house, okay? But I mean, if you just, for example, if you just only get the greater of the value and list down here, and you give the wrong reasoning, you get nothing. That's the rule, that's the policy on scoring. Okay, so you know the difference. Okay, so think about it. Think about the difficulties and the thing. I mean, such kind of question doesn't relate to the difficulty level, but it is really just how does it represent this real situation that you may meet in the real test. Okay. So I will just show my part here, and please let me know with anything that where just email to the top educations, or just from other ways if you know. Okay, and also I will welcome everyone if you like to prepare this well to my crash courses classes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lyons.